Right, good morning, everyone, and a warm welcome to the next session in Python. From the last classes, we had studied about the conditional statements, and we had started discussing about the iterational statements. And at the same time, under iterational statements, we have for and while. So we had seen about the while loop in the last before session, and in the previous session, we had seen about the for loop. So in today's session, we are going to write some more programs using for and while loop. And after that, we are going to discuss why do while is not included in Python. And we had a do while loop in C programming language. We had a do while in C++, and we have do while in Java. But the do while was not included in Python, right? We will see the reason why the do while is not included in the Python. And after that, we are going to see about the transfer statements in Python. Okay, so let us do the things within with online C compiler and online Python compiler. Okay, so in C program, let us see how to print the numbers from 10 to 1 in reverse order by using for loop. So for example, I want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. So let us declare a variable of I, right? Let us declare a variable of I, and I'm going to write the for loop here for int, where we need to print the numbers from 10 to 1. So where int I equal to 10, comma, I greater than or equal to 1. So I want to print the numbers from 10 to 1. So I had taken the condition of I greater than or equal to 1, and I have taken I minus minus. So now the loop will start with the I value of 10, and then I value will become 9, and then I value will become 8, up to I value will become 1, right? So now inside this for loop, I want to print the value of I, where I is an integer, because I am because of it is an integer, I am going to use %d followed by /n in order to print each and everything in the new line. So I have taken I. So if I do this one, if I run the code, I'm going to get the numbers from 10 to 1. Okay, so let us see how the same program can be written and can be executed in Python. So in Python, as we seen in the previous classes, the for loop will be a bit different. So for example, here what we want to print the numbers from 10 to 1 in reverse order. So previously we had used a for loop along with the range function. For example, we had written like this: for I in range, so for I in range of something called as 5, for I in range of 5, print I. So here, if we write for I, immediately the value of I will start from 0, right? The value of I will start from 0, and the endpoint will be n minus 1. That is, here we had taken 5, so the endpoint will be up to 4, right? Just a second. Okay, I think this annotation is not working. Okay, leave that. So here I have taken the value of I in range of 5. Now what will happen is I value will start at 0, right? I value will start at 0. So the equivalent, I am writing the equivalent for loop in C programming language. So I value will start at 0. I will be less than 5, and each and every time I will be going to be incremented by 1. So initially the value of I is 0, and then the value of I will become 1, and then the value of I will become 2, 3, 4. And whenever the value of I became 5, we are checking the condition 5 less than 5. The condition is false. So we just come out of the loop without printing the value of 5 on the output screen. So if you do so, it is going to print the numbers from 0 to 4. So as we discussed earlier, we can pass one parameter for the range function, or we can pass a couple of parameters for the range function. And at the same time, we can also pass 3 parameters for the range function. So if you pass a single parameter, the I value will start iterating from 0 to the given n minus 1. So if you assume the given value is n, I value is going to be iterate between 0 to n minus 1. So if I had taken two parameters, if I had taken range of 5, 10, then the equivalent for loop will be I equal to 5, I less than 10. So instead of starting the I value at 0, here the I value will start with the first parameter, and the I value will be less than 10, and each and every time I is going to be incremented by 1. In such case, we are going to get the output 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 on the output screen. So if you pass one parameter, that will be the maximum value. And if we pass two parameters, the given first parameter will be the starting value, and the given second parameter will be the last value. So here, if you see this one, it has printed the numbers from 5 to 9. And at the same time, the range function is also allowing the user to declare 3 parameters. So when we declare 3 parameters, the first one will be the starting value, right? 5 will be the starting. So the equivalent for loop will be I equal to 5, I less than 10, right? I plus plus. And if you take the third parameter as 2, instead of using I plus plus, it will be incremented 2 values each and every time. And if you take the third parameter as 3, then we are going to increment the value by 3 each and every time. So the initial value will be 5, and the next value will be 5 plus 3, that is 8. And the next value will be 8 plus 3, that is 11. Right? So if you pass 3 parameters, the first parameter will be the starting value, the second parameter will be the ending value, and the third parameter will be the increment in each and every iteration. Okay, so if you print the output, we are going to get only 5 and 8 as an output, because 5 less than 10, so the condition is true, it is going to print the value of 5. And after printing the value of 5 will be incremented by 3. So 5 plus 3 will be 8. And again, we check the condition, 8 less than 10. Again, the condition is true. So 8 will be printed on the output screen. After printing 8 will be incremented by 3. So if we add 3 to 8, then it will become 11. And if we check the condition, 11 less than 10. So the condition is false. Since the condition is false, it is not going to print the value of 11 on the output screen. So if you take 5, 100, so the numbers between 5 and 100, and in each and every iteration, 3 will be added to the old number. So 5 will be printed, and then 8 will be printed. 8 plus 3, 11 will be printed. 11 plus 3, 14 will be printed. 14 plus 3, 17 will be printed, up to the last number, that is 98 will be printed. So we want the numbers between 5 to 100 with a difference of 3. Okay, so this is how we can use the for loop. So in the previous session, one student had asked that how can we print the numbers, or how can we decrement the value inside the for loop? Okay, so here, if you see this C compiler, we had written of decrementing the value, that is I minus minus. But unfortunately, that I minus minus was not supported in Python, because Python does not support the increment and decrement operators directly. But what we have to do here, if you observe the three values, if you observe the three parameters passed to the range function, the first parameter is less than the second parameter. You can see here, the first parameter is less than the second parameter. That's why we got the numbers in ascending order. If you observe the output, we got the numbers 5, 8, 11, 14, 17, 20, 23. All the numbers are in ascending order because we had started with the minimum value and we want to reach the maximum value. Just interchange those two things. So, for example, I want to print the numbers from 100 to 5 with the difference of 3. So here, when you are moving towards the ascending numbers, each and every time we are going to add. And when we want to print the descending order, that is from 100 to 5, we need to negative the number. So pass one negative parameter here. Instead of passing +3, if you pass -3, so -3, first 100 will be printed, right? 100 will be printed, and then 100 minus 3, 97 will be printed. 97 minus 3, right? 94 will be printed. So if you observe the output of this code, you can see here 100, 97, 94, 91. So the things are printed in reverse order, that is a descending order. And the first number and the last number will be 7. So if you do 7 minus 3, it will become 4, right? 4 is not greater than 5. So just to see the meaning of this parameters, and then we can concentrate on the output. So the meaning of this one is, so we had started with I equal to 100. So I am writing the equivalent for loop in C programming language. We had started with I equal to 100, and then we are checking I greater than 5. We are checking I greater than 5, and then I minus 3. I minus 3. So we are going to start at 100. 100 is greater than 5 and 100 minus 3, and then 97 greater than 5, 97 will be printed, and 97 minus 3, 94 greater than 5, 94 will be printed, and up to 7 greater than 5, 7 will be printed, and 7 minus 3, it will become 4, and 4 greater than 5, 4 will never greater than 5. So that's why it has printed up to 7. So this is how the for loop will behave when we pass the maximum value as the first parameter, and when we pass the minimum value as second parameter, and a negative value as third parameter. So for example, if I want to print the numbers from 10 to 1 in reverse order, 10 to 1 in reverse order, let us see here. So I want to print the numbers from 10 to 1. So 10 is the starting value, and 1 is the ending value, and then each and every time I want to decrement with -1. If you run the code, it will print the numbers from 10 to 2. So because the equivalent for loop is that I equal to 10, I greater than 1, I minus. So we are checking only greater than 1. When you write equal to 1, I equal to 1, then 1 also will be printed on the output screen. If you want to do so, just pass 0 here. 0. So here, now we will start from 10 and we will end up with 1. Each and every time, -1 will be decremented from the value. So if you see the output, it has printed the numbers from 10 to 1 in reverse order. So this is how we can play with this for loop in Python. Okay, so now what I want is, I want the numbers from 1 to 100, which are divisible by 2. That means I want all the numbers between 1 to 100, which are of even. So if I want to have the even numbers, so let us see here, for I in range. So at what range I want the numbers? I want the numbers from 1 to 100, I want the numbers from 1 to 100 which are even. So which are even in the sense, I have to write an if condition. So the if condition is that I percentage 2, right? I percentage 2 equal to 0, right? If I percentage 2 equal to 0, then I want to print these numbers. So print I, right? Print I. See here, if you see the output of this code, it has printed the numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and so on up to 98. If you want to include 100 also, just change the value to 101. And if you do so, and if you see the output, it will print 100 in the output screen. So if you want to write the same program in C, right, in C, let us take the C compiler. So here inside the main function, I had declared a variable of int I, and inside the for loop, I want to print the numbers from 1 to 100, right? 1 to 100. I equal to 1, maybe I less than or equal to 100, because I want to include 100 also, I plus plus. So among all these numbers, what I want to print, I don't want to print the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 100. I want to print the numbers which are even, which are divisible by 2. So in case if I want to print the numbers which are divisible by 2, I need to divide the value of 2. So I need to divide the value with 2, and I want to check whether the remainder is 0 or not. If the remainder is 0, then only I want to print the number. If the remainder is 0, in the sense it is an even number. So percentage %d /n and then I. So if I print this one, if I run the code, as it will print, just a second, we had missed the semicolon at the end. Okay, if I run the code, it will print the numbers from 1 to 100 which are even. Okay, now what I want to do is, I want to print the numbers from 100 to 1 which are even. So instead of passing 1, 101, I will pass 100, 1. So if I do and if I run the code, I'm not going to get any output, because the for loop by default will be incremented. The for loop by default will get incremented. Okay, so here what we have to do, we have to pass a -1. If I pass -1, I'm going to get the output. So 100, 98, 96 up to, we are going to get something called as 2, right? So here also, if I want to do so, instead of iterating from 1 to 100, we just iterate from 100 to 1, I greater than or equal to 1, and each and every time I want to decrement, because I had started with 100 and I want to reach 1. So if I start from the maximum value and reach the minimum value, we need to decrement. And if you do, and if you run the code, you are going to get the even numbers between 100 to 1 in reverse order. Okay, and similarly, here I had printed the numbers which are divisible by 2. Now I want to print the numbers which are divisible by 3 from 100 to 1. It is simple. Here we had written I percentage 2. Instead of writing I percentage 2, if you write I percentage 3, now the numbers between 100 to 1 which are divisible by 3 will be printed on the output screen. You run the code, you can see here, just reverse the things so that we can understand it better. 1, 100, and I want to run the code. If I run the code, you can see here, all the numbers which are multiple by 3 has been printed on the output screen. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, right, 18, etc. And at the same time, if I want to print the numbers which are divisible by 4, simple, I can pass I percentage 4 equal to 0. Now the numbers which are divisible by 4 will be printed on the output screen. Those are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. And if I want to print the numbers which are divisible by 10, I can simply pass I percentage 10. It will print the numbers which are divisible by 10. So this is how we can use the combination of for loop and if, right? If, in order to do, or in order to play with the programs in Python. Okay, now I think all are familiar with this one. And at the same time, right? And as I said earlier, we can also use else, right? We can also use else for while or for if or for. So if we use else for, what will happen? When the for condition is failed, then the else block will get executed. When the for condition is failed, then the else block will get executed, right? And if you mention this else within if, right, or along with the if condition, when will this else block will get executed? When the if condition fails, then the else block is going to be executed. See here, indentation is very important, right? Everyone should keep this one in your mind. Indentation is very important. When you maintain a tab space, means we are maintaining a block, you are opening a block. Right here, I had maintained some tab space between for and if, which means this if is under the block of for, and for if, and this the third line I'm maintaining some tab space, means this print is in the body of this if condition, right? And this else and if are in the same line. That means this else belong to this if condition, and if this else and this for are in same line, this else belongs to this for condition. When this for condition fails, then this else block will gets executed. When this if condition fails, then this else block will get executed. Okay, and now see here. So let us see the transfer statements in Python. Okay, the transfer statements. And one more thing, before going to the transfer statements, let us see about the do while statement in C, and then we can go for the transfer statements. So see here, I had a variable of int a, right? I had a variable of int I with the value of I equal to maybe 1. Okay, while, see here, while what I'm going to write the condition is while I greater than 10, right? While I greater than 10. So each and every time I want to print the value of I, printf %d \n comma I, and each and every time I want to increment the value of I. So the initial value of I is 1. 1 will be printed on the output screen. 1 will become 2. 2 greater than 10. 2 will be printed on the output screen. 2 will become 3. 3 greater than 10. Up to it will print the numbers from 1 to 10. And whenever the 10 became 11, 1 second, we need to take not greater than, I'm sorry, take the less than. So when the 10 became 11, we are going to check 11 less than or equal to 10. The condition fails. So here, the values from 1 to 10 will be printed. So if you observe the output, it has printed the values from 1 to 10. Now, what happens if I write greater than here? I greater than or equal to 10. What is the initial I value? 1 is the initial I value. And when I check 1 greater than or equal to 10, the condition fails. Because the condition is failed, no number is going to be printed on the output screen. If you observe the output, there is nothing in the output. There is nothing, because when the numbers will be printed only after the satisfaction of this condition. The initial value of I is 1. We are checking the condition 1 greater than or equal to 10. That's why we don't get any output. So we enter into the block which was highlighted on our screen. We enter into the block only whenever the condition is true. When the condition is not true, we never enter into the block. So it is called as pre-test iteration loop. Pre-test. We are going to test the condition before entering into the loop. Only when the condition is true, then the compiler is going to allow the control into the body of the loop. And whereas do while is a post condition loop. Do while. So how the do while will be? We are going to write do here, and we are going to include the while condition here. Do while I greater than or equal to 10, and we end with the semicolon. So if you write this one, if you use this do while, and if you run the code, it will print 1 on the output screen. 1 on the output screen. How the 1 is printed on the output screen? Here I equal to 1, and then we enter into the do loop, and then it has printed the value of 1, and 1 will become 2, and then we are checking the condition. 2 greater than or equal to 10. 2 is not greater than or equal to 10. The condition is fails. Since the condition is fails, it will not enter into the loop again. So irrespective of this condition, whether the condition is true or the condition is false, this body of do will be executed at least once. So even though the condition is not true, it has printed 1 on the output screen. This may lead the programmer in a wrong way. So we don't want to print even a single number if the condition is not true. But by using do while, even though the condition is not true, it is going to print 1 on the output screen. That may lead to an that will mislead the programmer. So that's why the Python do not have this do while loop. This do while is called as post-test condition or post-test iteration. Post-test iteration in the sense, body of the loop will be executed and then we check the condition. What while? It is a pre-test condition. While condition will be checked first, only if the condition is true, we are going to enter into the body. So that is called as pre-test, and this do while is called as post-test, where the body will be executed first and then the condition checking will be done. And we don't want to execute this body until and unless the condition is true. We cannot do this by using do while. Right? Because of do while, even though the condition is true or the condition is false, it is going to execute the body of the loop at least once. That's why Python do not support this do while loop in programming. Right? And if you want to define a do while loop, right? If you want to define a do while loop, it is going to lead to an error. Do, if I say do print something called as a ds, right? Do print, and then if you write while here, it is going to lead to an error. If you run the code, we are getting some syntax at line number 8 where we had used do, because do while is not supported in Python, right? Why the do while is not supported in Python? So it is supported in C, C++, and in Java. In all the 3 languages, it is misleading the programmer. The programmer want to execute the block, only the condition is true. But all the 3 languages are executing the block and then they are checking whether the condition is true or not. Okay, so it will mislead. That's why it was not included in the Python programming. Okay, so with this, I am going to close today's session. And if anybody is having the doubts in today's session, you can raise your hands. And in tomorrow's session, we are going to concentrate on transfer statements. Anybody is having the doubts in today's session? Okay, so okay then 4, 2, 3, 6.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Sir, for loop lo I divided by 10 equal to 0 అన్నారు కదా. ఆ కండిషన్ ఫెయిల్ అయితే కదా సిఎస్సి అనేది ప్రింట్ అవ్వాల్సింది. అది కండిషన్ ఫెయిల్ కాకపోయినా సిఎస్సి అనేది ప్రింట్ అయింది కదా ఇందాక. మరి
చెప్తాను ఒక్క నిమిషం. సో ఇక్కడ చూడండి, 1 సెకండ్. సో ఇక్కడ చూడండి, మనకు అవుట్పుట్ ఎలా వచ్చిందో చూడండి. ఓకేనా? అవుట్పుట్. సో ఫస్ట్ మన ఐ వాల్యూ ఎంత ఇనీషియల్ గా? 1%. 1 ని 10 తో డివైడ్ చేసినప్పుడు రిమైండర్ 0 వస్తుందా? రావట్లేదు. కాబట్టి ఈ ఇఫ్ కండిషన్ మనం లోపలికి వెళ్ళకుండా ఈ ఇఫ్ కి సంబంధించినటువంటి ఎల్స్ ఇది కదా, అందుకని ఏఎంఎల్ అని చెప్పేసి మనకి 9 టైమ్స్ ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది. ఎందుకంటే 1 2 అవుతుంది, 2 3 అవుతుంది, 3 4 అవుతుంది, అలా 9 వరకు ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది. కానీ ఎప్పుడైతే 9 అనేది 10 అయిందో 10% 10 ఈక్వల్ టు 0నే కదా. 10 తో డివైడ్ చేసినప్పుడు రిమైండర్ 0నే వస్తుంది కదా. అలా వచ్చినప్పుడు ఏం ప్రింట్ చేయమన్నాం మనం? ఐ వాల్యూ అంటే 10 ప్రింట్ అవుతుంది. ఒక నిమిషం, ఇది నీకు రిమూవ్ చేస్తే నీకు క్లారిటీగా ఉంటుంది. ఒక నిమిషం. రైట్. సో ఇప్పుడు చూడండి, ఇలా రన్ చేసాం, ఓకేనా? సో ఇలా రన్ చేసినప్పుడు నాకు 10, 20, 30 అప్ టు 90 ప్రింట్ అయ్యి లాస్ట్ లో సిఎస్సి అని ప్రింట్ అయింది. సో ఈ సిఎస్సి ప్రింట్ అయింది అంటే ఈ ఎల్స్ బ్లాక్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయినట్లే. ఈ ఎల్స్ బ్లాక్ ఎప్పుడు ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది? ఎప్పుడైతే ఈ ఎల్స్ బ్లాక్ అనేది దేనికి సంబంధించిందంటే ఎల్స్ ఫర్ రెండు ఒకే లైన్ లో ఉన్నాయి కాబట్టి ఈ ఎల్స్ అనేది ఈ ఫర్ కి సంబంధించింది. సో ఎప్పుడైతే ఇక్కడ ఉన్నటువంటి ఈ ఫర్ లూప్ లో ఉన్నటువంటి కండిషన్ అనేది ఫెయిల్ అవుతుందో, ఫెయిల్ అయినప్పుడు మాత్రమే ఎల్స్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది. ఫర్ లూప్ లో మనం కండిషన్ ఏం రాసాం? రేంజ్ అనే ఫంక్షన్ వాడి 1,100 అని రాసాం. 1,100 అంటే i ఈక్వల్ టు 1, i లెస్ దాన్ 100, ఓకేనా? i ప్లస్ ప్లస్ అని మీనింగ్, ఓకేనా? ఇక్కడ రాసినటువంటి రేంజ్ ఫంక్షన్ యొక్క మీనింగ్ ఇది. 1 తో స్టార్ట్ అవుతాం, లెస్ దాన్ 100 వరకు చెక్ చేస్తాం, i ప్లస్ ప్లస్. ఓకే, సో మనకి i వాల్యూ అనేది 90 అయింది అనుకో, 90% 10 ఈక్వల్ టు 0 కాబట్టి 90 ప్రింట్ అయింది. 90 అయిన తర్వాత i వాల్యూ ఏమవుతుంది? 91, 92, 93 ఇలా చెక్ అవుతూ ఉంటుంది కదా. సో ఎప్పుడైతే i వాల్యూ అనేది 100 అయిందో మనం ఏం చెక్ చేస్తున్నాం ఇక్కడ? కండిషన్ 100 లెస్ దాన్ 100. 100 లెస్ దాన్ 100 అంటే మనకి ఏమవుతుంది అక్కడ?
నాట్ పాసిబుల్.
కండిషన్ ఫాల్స్. 100 is not less than 100. 100 is equal to 100, రైట్? 100 less than 100 అంటే కండిషన్ ఫెయిల్ అవుతుంది కదా ఫర్ లూప్ లో. కండిషన్ ఫెయిల్ అయినప్పుడు ఎల్స్ బ్లాక్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది.
ఓకే,
ఓకేనా? కండిషన్ ఫెయిల్ అయింది కాబట్టి ఎల్స్ బ్లాక్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అవుతుంది. ఎల్స్ ఎగ్జిక్యూట్ అయింది కాబట్టి నీకు లాస్ట్ లో సిఎస్సి అని ప్రింట్ అయింది.
ఓకే సార్.
ఓకేనా?
ఓకే సార్.
రైట్. ఇంకా సో ఇంకెవరికైనా డౌట్స్ ఉన్నాయా?
సార్ సి లాంగ్వేజ్ లోయర్ కేస్ లాంగ్వేజ్ కదా సార్, పైథాన్ కూడా లోయర్ కేస్ లాంగ్వేజ్ ఏనా సార్?
లోయర్ కేస్ కాదమ్మా, కేస్ సెన్సిటివ్. కేస్ సెన్సిటివ్. కేస్ సెన్సిటివ్ అంటే ఏంటంటే క్యాపిటల్ ఏ, స్మాల్ ఏ అవి రెండు వేరు వేరు. ఓకేనా? మనకి సి గానీ, సి ప్లస్ ప్లస్, పైథాన్, జావా అన్ని కూడా కేస్ సెన్సిటివ్ లాంగ్వేజెస్. వేర్ క్యాపిటల్ ఏ ఇస్ డిఫరెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ స్మాల్ ఏ, వేర్ క్యాపిటల్ ఎక్స్ ఇస్ డిఫరెంట్ ఫ్రమ్ స్మాల్ ఎక్స్. అవి రెండు వేరు వేరు. బట్ మనకు ఉంది హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ లాంగ్వేజ్ అని ఒకటి ఉంది, హైపర్ టెక్స్ట్ మార్కప్ లాంగ్వేజ్ అని చెప్పేసి మనం వెబ్ పేజెస్ డిజైన్ చేయడానికి యూస్ చేస్తాం. అది నాట్ కేస్ సెన్సిటివ్. అంటే అందులో హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ ఎలా యూస్ చేస్తామంటే మనం ట్యాగ్స్ రాస్తాం, హెచ్టిఎంఎల్ అని చెప్పేసి ఇలా రాస్తాం. ఇది లోయర్ కేస్ లో రాసాం కదా, ఇవే ట్యాగ్ అప్పర్ కేస్ లో రాసినా సరే రెండు ఒకటే, రెండింటి మీనింగ్ ఒకటే. బట్ ఇలాంటివి మనం ఈ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ లాంగ్వేజెస్ లో రాసామంటే కనుక అవి మీనింగ్ డిఫరెంట్. కేస్ సెన్సిటివ్. all the 4 languages are case sensitive. We cannot use capital letter in place of small letter, or we cannot use small letter in place of capital letter.
Okay sir.
Okay. Inga ఎవరైనా ఉన్నారా? Okay, right. I am closing today's session, and in tomorrow's session we are going to look at transfer statements in Python. And thank you very much for being here.